So I've had this music box for several years now. Lisa and I found it at an antique store in Tawas. And the moment I saw it, I knew that I wanted it. But even more than that, I knew that I wanted to make my own music for it. The music for it is programmed on these interchangeable discs, which it actually came with a wide array of songs, a majority of them Christmas themed. Even so, being able to make my own discs and play my own music on this music box would be incredible. Unfortunately, I haven't taken the time to figure out how I would go about making my own discs. That is, until quite recently, when I ordered some plastic sheeting for a different project. For some reason, when handling the plastic sheets, it made me think of the discs from the music box. This could be the perfect material to make these discs from. And even better, I looked up online, this plastic is safe to use in a laser. So I could potentially use my little laser cutter and cut out discs for the music box. And if that actually works, then the only other thing I have to do is, figure out how to actually write music on a circular disc. Let's start off by just listening to one of the discs just to hear what the music box actually sounds like. Now quickly, just completely for fun, let's flip one of the discs over and play it upside down. And now if we play that backwards, I think that's enough of that. I'll schedule an exorcism for you first thing tomorrow morning. I'm going to approach the videos for this music box project a little bit differently. And yes, I said videos because this is going to be my first multi-part project. The overall goal of this channel is to help me make things, help me do the things that I want to do. And it's done an extraordinary job at doing that. However, the process of one project, one video hasn't always really worked out. I actually have an ever-growing collection of dead videos. For one, just projects that didn't work, but more so projects that just got too big, where key footage was lost along the way, or just the sheer volume of footage would demotivate me and I just wouldn't want to sit down and edit it. And that means you miss out on some potentially really cool stuff. So instead of trying to just do one big music box project video that may never see the light of day, I'm going to try and do smaller, more focused episodes. Now they may or may not be consecutive depending on what other ideas I get during the week. But if you are interested in this project and you haven't seen a video on it in a few weeks, please feel free to ask about it in the comments. Having your guys' help to keep me on task and motivate me, nag me, to finish these things, I would really appreciate that. So for this first part, let's get one of these discs recreated digitally, perfectly scaled 1:1. I'll start by scanning one of the discs into the computer at 300 dpi. 300 dpi will help ensure that the scale stays true to life. Bringing that scan into Illustrator, I want to get it lined up so one of the sprocket holes is centered up at the top. And then I proceed by tracing that sprocket. Now there are 143 of them, and there's no way I'm just going to draw each one by hand. Thankfully, Illustrator can help us generate all these sprocket holes in just a few seconds. First, I need to make a small circle here in the center, and then group it with the sprocket hole I drew. Now with that selected, I choose Effect, Distort and Transform, Transform. As I said, there are 143 sprocket holes, so I want to make 142 copies. My original plus 143. And to figure out the angle that I need to rotate them, I can do the math right inside of Illustrator by typing 360 divided by 143. That gives me an angle of 2.52. Hit OK and, oh, almost. Need to set the origin point to the bottom. This is why I drew that little circle. And there we go. Now if I turn the reference back on, it matches up pretty darn well. I'll quickly draw a circle for the outside of the disc. And now I want to draw a ring for each note on the disc. These I will do by hand as there are only 20 of them. I'm just going to expand a circle, lining it up with the center of the notes. I'll repeat that process until I've connected all the notes with the circle. And there, now all of our tracks are defined. Now what's the point of the rings? If my goal is just to recreate the disc digitally, why not just draw small circles and place them over the notes? Well, let me show you. I'm actually going to switch programs now and head over to InDesign. I can copy and paste my Illustrator paths and they retain their vector data, which is cool. But this is where things get interesting. I'll use the Type on Path tool to apply some text to the path. And I'll set all of them up with text. Stick with me now. I'm going to make a custom font. Just using Font Creator, all I need is a big circle. So I'll just draw that and make sure it is the full width of the character space, and that's it. I'll export it as a font, install it. And now, back in InDesign, if I change the font on my path to my custom font, I am now able to type big dots, or in this case, music notes. So in Photoshop, I just want to quickly isolate all those notes so they're easier to see. I'll just adjust the levels and save that as a JPEG. Now I can bring those notes in as a reference, line it up, and I'll lower the transparency down. Now I can just start typing on the notes. I'll hit the space bar until the cursor gets to a note, and then I type A, which will enter a note. Continuing along the line until I have reached all the notes, and then moving on to the next circle. Continuing that process until I have covered all of the notes on the reference, and that's it. Perfect digital recreation of the disc, ready to be lasered. Now again, what was the point of doing it this way? It seems like a lot of extra work, right? Why not just scan it and then adjust the levels like I did in Photoshop? Well, the goal is not just to create a digital copy of the disc that I can hopefully cut on my laser. The goal is to create one with my own custom music, and the InDesign document I just created should hopefully be a powerful tool in helping me do that. Unless someone happens to know of a pre-existing piece of software that I can use to create, Regina-style music discs. But that'll do it for this first video. Here's a look at everything I aspire to accomplish with this project. My sincere thank you for watching. Once again, I am Nick D. Clements, if you're wondering. Nick is short for Nicholas, and the D stands for disc. Anyway, I'm off to make something else. So to achieve that ethereal, dreamy look in the opening of the video, I actually mounted my lens on backwards using a special adapter, effectively turning it into a macro lens. But as a side effect or feature, you get that cool, blurry vignette.